Hello, what's up guys, welcome. Another stream, another Saturday. Happy Saturday everyone. 24th of February already. Last week of the month. Next Friday is going to be already the 1st of March. Yeah, but instead of as usually the first Friday of every month we have NFP, in reality next Friday is not going to be NFP. It's going to be just the week after that. So yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Pedro, and today on Saturdays as usually we are going to go through the weekly market forecast, basically trying to look and analyze what are the key levels for next week, what are the main assets that you're expecting price to, where we're expecting price to move, which direction, and also identify key levels to try to take advantage from. We usually start with dollar index, then we go through US indices, DAX as well, and then individual currency pairs, then gold, oil, and we finish a bit with crypto. Feel free to recommend any specific asset that you are looking for, so we can analyze it together as well. So yeah, feel free to share your reviews and your levels as well, and on the chat. All right, so last week it continued a little bit, not last week, but yes, last week it just continued the correction on the dollar. Okay, that was a little bit of the prediction that we were looking for as well. Okay, so in general it's kind of the opposite of what I'm going to say, but bigger picture, we did manage to break, as you can see, kind of above this big rectangle, looking for price to eventually maybe continue to go slightly higher, but the dollar actually has been quite bullish since the beginning of the year, and there you go. Like after a month and a half of bullish momentum, it's correcting at this point, but overall this may actually continue to be seen as an engulf upwards more towards the future. We'll see. Again, on the dollar, was not the biggest fan of maybe where price reacted from, even though it was a good level. Much more on the euro. I prefer the demand where actually price reacted from. But that was already 2 weeks ago, and since then price starting to move lower, and this was actually kind of a clue that we paid attention to, and it start creating our bias to look for the move to the downside of the dollar for this last week. Okay, because on Friday, which day was it? Friday, the 16th of February, we had some news. I think it was PPI or something like that, and we had this spike to the upside, and then prices completely rejected it and it moved forward. Right, so again, this was basically to kind of the reaction from these left shoulders all the way there to pick up those orders, still respecting this level. And when we saw that rejection, then we start positioning ourselves as shorts on the dollar on Monday. This was the level that was still fresh. This was something that we pay attention to in here on Monday, even though Monday was kind of a slow day because of the bank holiday in the US and Canada, if not mistaken. But this was the level that we were looking for. Okay, so price kind of opened somewhere in here, starting to manage to break a little bit these lows. This demand zone in here could have been valid, but this was something that we start paying attention to. There was already kind of few breaks of structure of lows in here and start to show indication that price wants to go lower, and then you have that just typical fake out kind of correction in there. And then kind of in alignment with this level in here, this is what we want to pay attention to. And in this case, this is basically the reaction towards this level. Which again happened basically exactly the same thing in here. Okay, so basically the same situation starts to happen in here as well. We create a bit of structure, we have the break, a kind of fake out in there, start breaking lows, and then the reaction from this level also because of this previous structure in here. So yes, that's what we were looking for on the dollar, continue to move to the downside, which then got confirmed after dollar managed to break this low, and since then it was again, just trying to look for continuation on the dollar in here. Now, where did the dollar reacted from? Like this low in here. Is this kind of the final level? Should I expect dollar to continue to move lower, or should we have a little bit more of a correction out, kind of a move to the upside? Personally, I think maybe dollar might wants to still go a bit lower. We also managed to break this trend line, which kind of already got respected in there. We may have still maybe something in here, or then you can even have something else in there. This reaction from this low, it's a okay level. Okay, you can see how many times price has been kind of respecting that level in the past, but in particular this zone in here. Okay, this was basically the last one of the last supplies that price created before making this move down, which means that in theory price should have kind of respected that level and move forward from here. From there, didn't really happen, so kind of a supply becomes a demand, kind of just that flip-flop of the level, and it goes from here. I bet that if you actually look into 1 minute time frame, which you don't really have that data now, there's maybe this low doesn't stop in here, maybe the low that actually may goes all the way in there. Right, again on the 5 minute time frame, we actually have an engulf kind of this level going all the way, maybe now opening the space maybe to go towards that level in here, but maybe on 1 minute, depending on actually where this low reacts from, this actually kind of, if this was created something like this, okay, and then this is not react, maybe kind of an engulf in the lower time frame in here. So yes, that's kind of a little bit on the dollar. So that's kind of how we were positioning ourselves this week in here, especially in the beginning of the week, until kind of have that move down. Now we'll see what may happen in here. Okay, but that may be that continuation in there. There's still maybe that level in there as well. And yeah, the high is not really big fun. If you get close to the highs, most likely you're going to go higher. For the lows, yeah, we may have that continuation. Not the biggest fan of this demand neither. I think eventual price could even correct much more to the downside in here, but we'll see what may happen at on the dollar at this point, to be honest. Next week the main catalyst is going to be PCE, I think Thursday maybe. Not really sure what day is it. When it's going to happen. Yeah, core PCE on Thursday. We have already some interest rate decisions, starting with New Zealand, GDP in the US. Yeah, and that's basically it with manufacturing, more manufacturing on Friday. Yeah, that's basically it. Not really much in the news next week. Yeah, so it's going to be another quiet week in terms of macro data, aside from the PC, which again it's quite relevant. Yeah, so again the dollar, we could continue to see a little bit more to downside. Again, we can pay attention also to the euro, which we are going to do, to see if the bias is to continue to move higher on the euro. Then this dollar index may move a bit lower, right? So again, we can analyze both hand in hand to see. Personally, not the biggest fan of where actually just this will stop. I think maybe this is just a continuation eventually to the downside in here. Okay, so that's maybe something that may happen. We'll see. Yeah, not really the biggest fan of this flow. Yeah, so we may have a bit more of continuation to the downside in here. The US indices, this is something that we definitely were paying attention to. Of course, the biggest catalyst was Nvidia, right? The earnings on Wednesday night after the market closed, it completely shifted the market, created this bullish momentum once again in the equities. Right, so all of them, a beautiful reaction on the S&P from that left shoulder, kind of. Then we managed to break this trend line in here, and the reaction was actually quite interesting. Just before the earnings, we actually managed to start breaking that structure in there, and then you had that volatility happening with the news, right? So we kind of managed to break above it, start to give the signal wants to go higher, just to test, and it start to move higher. Since then, if by any chance you were looking for any kind of sell still at the highs, we never really got any confirmation for that to happen. Prices continue to respect the previous levels and just continue to show more bullish momentum up until where we are now. Okay, this was actually kind of a good range in here that you start to look for. Actually looking for that fake out now to perhaps start looking to move lower. We haven't really got a proper break of a low in here. For example, this low still respected this low, so I would have preferred to see already kind of, again, the type of pattern that I really kind of like to look at. It's always something like that, right? So it starts creating some kind of structure in here, okay, but then all of a sudden you have that first attempt to go lower and before kind of then having the fake out, right? So this one kind of literally starts giving indication to go down, which this one in here didn't really create that movement, right? It will be this one to break below this level, then we could have the fake out, and then we maybe could have a bit more, right? So what I mean is that I always like to see this one happening first before this one happening. If this one happens actually first, there's maybe the chance that even if this one is broken, there's maybe still the chance of this one being faked out one more time in here. So again, but after that we start creating a little bit of structure, and this is something that we mentioned also, if not last week, 2 weeks ago, how to trade all-time highs. Okay, especially if you're looking for reversals, always wait for some structure to be created first before aiming to look for any sales. Okay, don't really try to trade the initial kind of what you may think that is already a double top in here. Try to trade double tops to the downside when you are at all-time highs. I don't really advise anyone to do so, even though they kind of respected in here, as you can see. That's not exactly where the main move is going to happen. Price kind of still needs first to create some kind of structure until we finally have again a little bit of accumulation of more stop losses in here, so then price can quickly go higher and then have a move down. Okay, so yeah, so we want to see this kind of structure in here. You want to see that being faked out, and then you're going to be able to try to see where is the confirmation to look for that reversal, right? So something that also I mentioned is when you do have that structure being created, okay, something like this, and let's pretend that that's the move down. Okay, when you do have that move, this is kind of the structure that you are looking for, right? In this particular case, it will be this one, but then you can maybe start having a new one. If price just continues to go much higher, we may eventually create a new zone in here that is going to give you or start giving some indication that price moves to go lower if price actually breaks that level in here. Okay, so maybe this one in here, and then the other one to be something in there. So if this one breaks, you can start looking maybe for sales towards here. Okay, and then it's a question mark. If this one holds, then maybe price can go higher, or if this one starts breaking, then you can start looking for even more sales, which now take us into the base of this level. But this level, since this level actually is already kind of a break of these lows, then you can even start looking for much lower. But always be careful with this level as well in here. So that's a little bit of kind of three zones to pay attention to when looking for these all-time highs setups, or even kind of any reversal by itself, right? The main difference is that if it is all-time highs, we don't really have any information on the left side, so it's a big question mark because we have no clue, right? If this is not all-time highs, and if you do have information on the left side where maybe price actually kind of comes from or whatever, then you may start looking for the key level that you're looking for. And if price is still not reacting from that level, there's maybe the higher probability that price actually still wants to continue to go higher until it may get to the next important structure, right? So that's kind of the main difference in here. So it's always a bit more trickier and risky to trade all-time highs because you never know when price is actually ready to stop in here. But we can use those clues and confirmations that I just mentioned, right? We can get 1, 2, 3 maybe levels, and the levels in reality on the chart, as you can see, they were these ones. So I can just delete this one. 1 second. Okay, so the levels, it was actually, again, it was maybe something in here, right? Where we have this, we're looking for the level that is broken, okay, that kind of, that creates the break to the upside, this kind of somewhere in here, and then the next structure that is created immediately after that. Like in this particular case, price broke it and retraced, so becomes this level. What you're looking for, sometimes price breaks, goes higher, and creates now a new range in here. So maybe this is now the new level in here, and then continues to go higher. Like in this particular case, we have actually two levels in here, this one and this one. In this particular zone, as you can see, price broke, it went down, it retested straight away this level. So we're looking more of actually of some reaction in here at the highs. And then price goes higher and it creates a new range in here. Like it goes down a little bit and that creates a new impulse, and you're looking for price in here. As you can see, price respected first, tries to go higher, it doesn't manage to, and eventually manage to break below this level in here. Okay, so that's the break. This is maybe if you want to actually look for that extra confirmation, maybe that's where you get your trigger to start looking for sales, and then maybe start looking to look for entries either under test of that or after you break again this level once again. And you can see how important that level is, that price tends to respect that afterwards. And again, you can maybe look for another type of entries in there. Okay, so we did have still the reaction in here at the upper edge of this level, but then price just continued to move forward. Okay, so again, this is a little bit of what we have in here on the S&P in this particular in yesterday's PA. But again, those are the kind of the three levels that you can pay attention to, and eventually if you do start breaking below this level, then you can maybe start aiming to go a little bit more lower. Since this level in here is basically already kind of spiked, taken, maybe price can go all the way here, which if not mistaken starts looking for the previous high in here, which is always a good level for price eventually to react from and to bounce from, maybe continue to move upwards. Who knows, right? But you are always looking for price then to test these previous levels of support resistance or all-time highs in there. We had this initial structure in here, and then you had that one. So this one is already reacted. As you can see, this will react straight away from that level in here. Okay, and the other one is still fresh, kind of the one in alignment with this high, which is actually kind of left behind now with this demand zone. So it can always be an interesting level to pay attention to, since this high in here didn't even reacted from it. Okay, this was, sorry. So yeah, that's a little bit of what we have. Again, personally, I would definitely prefer to see this low already taking this level, so I'll be a bit more confident on looking more for shots in here. Since this level, since we didn't have yet that low broken, we may have a little bit now, and then maybe price can go higher one more time, and eventually we're going to look for something in here. Where yes, PCE can be an important factor, since this last strong bullish momentum to downside, strong bearish momentum in here was created with the CPI. Okay, it was higher than expected. So if PCE follows the CPI data, that can be a really concern for the markets, and what the Fed may do, or how much longer is going to stay with the rates quite high. So that can be another sell-off opportunity in here. Otherwise, again, price may just continues to go higher. Yeah, so that's a little bit of the S&P and how to look at it. Hey Saurav, morning man, how are you? Happy Saturday. Yeah, so again, this is always that you can track initially more lower time frame opportunities, and then maybe a little bit more higher time frame. And this is what we have on the NASDAQ. Okay, so something else, just recap a little bit S&P as well. Like S&P didn't really, with this low, we didn't really manage to go all the way closer to this level. Okay, so within this range, we kind of left behind a zone in here that price may still want to go and fill. This level in here was quite good, respected this left shoulder, perfect, and it moved higher. Okay, we also mentioned a few weeks, like even 10 days ago, something like that, when you started to have this level, my main idea it would be to see a little bit of a correction and then the fake out and then the move down. Price actually had a deeper correction straight away from the double top. You reacted perfectly from this level and it went higher, right? So again, eventually, even if S&P does want to continue to move lower, of course, this is an important barrier that it can hold price. Otherwise, Otherwise, you may even aim, towards this level in here, which is where actually NASDAQ managed to go to. Like NASDAQ, this low actually got really closer to the base of this level. It faked out this low, which is kind of what we're looking for as well. Like, and that's basically what I mean in here, right? So as you can see, NASDAQ actually went a bit more to the downside. It went below that level, got really close to this target in here that we were looking for. Basically almost filled the range, and then meanwhile moved higher, and you're looking for that extra fake out as well, respecting kind of a double top, and then you have the fake out happening. And this is also what I mean. Like, there you go. What I mentioned before in terms of the, can I still go back? I cannot. What I mentioned before in terms of the S&P and NASDAQ. The S&P in terms of this range, look at these lows. Like, these lows actually managed to break below that structure, starting indicating this type of a move even before the fake out, and then we have the fake out, right? So that's the break of the lows that I mentioned before, that S&P didn't really create it, and what I like to see usually, because that gives a much higher confirmation, or the odds become much higher that price may actually be closer to potential reversal or move to the downside in here. Okay, then you have fake out, and then again typical levels that you're going to be looking for, somewhere in there, and then eventually also somewhere at the base in here with the right PA or the fresh levels in there. So that's of course something that we can try to track, and as you can see, that's exactly where price end up reacting from in here. Right, so we have this one in here, we have already the break in there to the downside. Okay, and then we have this level, which ends up being respected in the moment. Right, as you can see, as price is moving lower in here, again, what's the level? This is the level that is created after the break. Okay, this one in here is a little bit, and price kind of goes a bit higher. It keeps compressing, and then you have finally the break, and you create this range in here. Okay, which is created as you can see so many times in there. Then you can have a little bit more of this one. This is kind of an aggressive entry if you want to enter straight away short after the break of this, because we still have definitely this range in here that's quite important. But after that, price literally starts moving lower, and again breaking back into this level starts to show that bearishness, and you have this level in here, which is basically already respected on the way down. Okay, so this is one of those situations where price kind of goes down and it respects the level, and then continues to move lower, instead of just kind of creating maybe this kind of supply, creating, and price never really going back to that zone. Okay, price touched this level, it didn't really touch this supply, which makes it maybe the next important level to look for a potential reaction in here. If NASDAQ does want to go here, this is actually maybe the next level that you can pay attention to for a potential short in there. Okay, again, depending on where price actually is reacting from, this can be an interesting move. Okay, somewhere in there, right? We have that small space being created in between these two levels. So yeah, that's definitely something to pay attention to in the future. And then you have the base, price already reacted from it, start compressing a little bit, and you have now this next structure in here. All right, last week also, or this week that just passed by, we finally managed to break also these upper trend lines that we have all the way since November. Okay, it was NASDAQ first. We managed to have this first break in here. S&P also managed to, don't really have the trend line anymore, but he also managed to break this trend line in here. Okay, even though kind of then retest to the upside, but it starts to break in here, which can be an interesting clue also to pay attention in there. Okay, so again, we'll see. It's maybe another opportunity to continue to look for more sales in here, but if you are bullish, maybe continue to look for that momentum. At this point, I don't really have any big bias of reversal, but lower time frame, there's maybe those opportunities to look for. Okay, what would be maybe bigger bias to look for reversal is that actually if we had managed to break, for example, below this low, that could show a little bit more of a stronger level that would have been broken, and maybe an attempt to show indication that it wanted to reverse much more. Up until this point, it's just kind of filling the ranges that you're going to be looking for. Eventually, something more in the time frame as well in there on the indices in here. And then we have Dow. Yeah, Dow actually, again, it was the one that actually managed to create that engulf down, which again can be used for the future. RC didn't really follow through straight away with that one. There's maybe some structure here where maybe price reacted. It's okay. Meanwhile, again, what we mentioned, what we wanted to see before looking for the reversals, right? So we want to look for those structures that break it, and you want to see these levels being broken if price has the intention to go lower. This guys, it didn't, right? So it just kept respecting the structure straight away, okay, without the break. Same thing, we managed to break these highs in here, okay. You create the structure, which is basically this level that managed to break it and respects. There's no break to downside, it just continues to go higher, and it continues to do the same thing in here. Again, this low kept respecting this level. We have a new attempt in here to go higher. We kind of managed to break now below this level, so we could have maybe start looking a bit more for shorts just towards this level in here. And until we actually have a proper level being broken, maybe the tendency to still be to continue to move higher until we may have that potential maybe pattern in here, maybe a break of a low, then maybe try to go higher again. We'll see. This maybe level still maybe is left behind above this high. Otherwise, we may create kind of another structure before making that move like that. Again, it's all-time highs. It's always a tricky one to trade in here. You can see how long does it take? It took in here to reverse. Spike up. This actually maybe it's an interesting level. The price has been taken. Yeah, that may be interesting. Yeah. How was your week, Saraf? Yeah, so again, paying attention, something like this. Let's see if it breaks or not in here. Yeah, nothing really much, but again, it's going to be another one that we can keep following and maybe look for some opportunities. DAX, same thing. It just continues to go higher, create momentum. Again, it kept respecting this structure in here. It went higher, not really a break yet. This is actually kind of a tricky one, because I think in my broker, actually this one is not a double top, because this one actually went higher. So I think that there is this structure in here. I think this one did something like this, but this is actually kind of a double top in there. If this is something like this, could be interesting. But I think actually this one's a reaction from there, creating kind of a double top situation, which can create a new high in here. Again, structures wise, it's still kind of respecting the lows, doesn't really manage to break. This one goes down, range, respect the low, and it breaks to the upside. So yeah, just another one. Again, DAX is kind of it's about time to have a bit more of a correction, maybe even retesting this structure in here, so maybe can create that opportunity as a short, maybe starting to create that range that we kind of like to see. So yeah, we'll see if we do have that confirmation of a break of a low. Maybe can look for price to at least feel this range in here, and maybe after that can just resume to move higher. Again, it's an interesting moment to look for to trade. It can be super tricky, especially for a counter trend trader. You can be caught on the wrong side many times. So yeah, be careful, or try to trade something more clear, not really try to trade all-time highs if you are looking for reversals. In here, there's no point in trying to pick the top or the all-time high in here. It's more of literally kind of follow the approach and the confirmations that I just mentioned before, and be conservative with your targets. That's another point. All right, this is Euro Index. there you go. So it filled it finally filled the range. Right, this was the prediction we made in the beginning of the month, if you remember. This was just before the NFP on the 2nd of February. As you can see in here, this is kind of the prediction we made, and finally price filled the range and even broke above this high, right? So that was the opportunity that we saw. We're looking for that break to the upside. Price retesting a bit more of this structure, and then kind of the move upwards. Even this moving here kind of happened in there as well. Okay, so again, that's done. In here it took a while because price ranged quite a lot in here in the middle. Okay, again, we are not in control of how price ends up moving, but we can definitely pay attention to the levels that we are expecting price to react from. Okay, so that's what I mentioned. Even this move down in here, it still happened before price finally moved and it filled all this compression in here. Okay, so that happened, and now we are at these highs in here, which is going to be quite of an interesting zone. At this point, I kind of have this structure in here to see if this level kind of holds, maybe price can start moving lower, or if this level actually breaks to the upside, this can be a good level to continue to then look for a continuation to the upside. Okay, after price maybe breaks not just this high, but maybe also even this high in here, and with the right PA, maybe around this level can be a continuation to the upside eventually for the Euro Index to get closer to that level in there. Okay, again, it's reacting from the base of this level. It's a good level in here, and by breaking this high in here this last week, it may actually help open the door for price to go much higher in here. Okay, this is a strong enough accumulation period that we had on Euro Index, which may take Euro still more to the upside, which may take dollar to the downside. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but this is at this point kind of the levels that you're looking for. In here, there's maybe still more continuation to look for as well, and this will never really react from the demand zone, so eventually could react or could retrace towards there, but I would like to see more bullishness in here before even price getting closer to this level in here. Otherwise, if price doesn't really create a new high in here, this may just be now a correction and price may go to the downside once again. Yeah, so that's an interesting one on the Euro Index. And then the main one that you are looking for, right? So this is where we have been spending a lot of our time, is on tracking the yen pairs and the yen index in this case. Okay, so yes, we are paying attention to the compression. We mentioned to the guys that we are in a zone 3 type of a move, which is basically in a compression type of a move. Okay, we can see this yen index trying to make attempts to go higher a few times, but getting kind of crushed anytime it finds the next level of resistance or supply. Like, so it finds it and it then slowly just continues to move lower, creating new lows. So we managed to take this low basically at the same time that Nikkei actually managed to take also the all-time highs, a 30-year high in here, this one chart, right? So right, so we are at the all-time highs in here as well. Maybe if we do have a little bit of a correction on the Nikkei, maybe we have also correction on the yen pairs. We'll see. But this negative, not negative, but the devaluation of the yen is going to start creating a lot of pressure for the Bank of Japan, and we'll see what's going to happen. But this alone, like this chart in here, if you want to study the PA within this 30-year period, it's an amazing chart. Like, even if it is on a weekly time frame, like the demand where it reacted from, having this liquidity or creating this low in here, just to create enough liquidity to come back in here, go below, get really to the extreme of this level. It's just a beautiful price action that happened over a 30-year period. Even then, the move to the upside, the compression one more time, move upwards, and manipulation in here, this spike down, react from this level and go higher after breaking into this compression level. Okay, after taking this highs, we got into the compression period, and after that, there you go, continuation more, then breaks to the upside, we test this level, still creates manipulation here with breaking these lows and then kind of testing all that, and it goes along with it. Same thing in here, creates new lows, goes higher, fake out the lows, and goes with it. Like again, all of it, it's beautiful, even from the lows as well, the way price is moving down, the beautiful piece of price action that we have during this 30-year period. All right, so this is just to see even in a higher time frame, this still works. Yeah, so you can, if you want to do the exercise, just take a screenshot of this one and draw your levels, how you would have been reading this with confirmation of price breaking levels, providing indication where it wants to go next. Yeah, this could be a great chart to do that exercise in this weekly time frame. Doesn't even need to go more in detail or even some out in there. So, but that's the one. And on the other side, you are looking at the yen index, and you are potentially can continue to look for that potential reversal, which can take us to look for shorts on the yen pairs. Okay, so that's what we have been following. We have been following Aussie yen, Euro yen, Pound yen, Dollar yen a little bit mixed, because Dollar yen has been quite affected also based on the dollar, not just on the yen, which is behaving slightly different from the other yen pairs, in particular Euro yen, Pound yen, and maybe Aussie yen in the mixed. So again, we are going to continue to follow. We are going to continue to wait for that confirmation. As you can see in the past as well, this yen index is an asset that likes to kind of compress a little bit before maybe a turn in here. So we are going to just keep an eye on all of it before we can get that push to the upside, which is going to represent sales on the Euro yen, which is actually reacting from a great level, and the remaining pairs as well. So yeah, just keeping an eye on it. There was opportunities on intraday to look for trades on the yen pairs, but it's still just the expectation of the target, right? Maybe already anticipating the complete turn is still maybe not the moment. This yen index most likely is going to provide us the clue also for us to look for that. So yep, this week is going to continue to the same. It's going to be one of the main pairs that we are going to be paying attention to, because there are opportunities in here to look for. All right, and then individual currency pairs. All right, so euro dollar. Okay, so euro dollar actually reacted from an interesting level. Like again, comparing with the dollar index, I prefer much more where this low on the euro dollar reacted from, perfectly from this demand zone, opposite to the dollar index, and this high on the euro dollar reacted from the extreme of this range that we've been looking for. Actually, perfect reaction from the KM zone in there. Okay, so basically went straight away, it filled the range, and it started moving to the downside in here. Okay, now this is the question mark, is what's going to happen around this structure. Is this kind of a turn to downside, or is this kind of still holding eventually just to continue to push price higher in here? And if you do break above this high, then you're looking for price to already go above here, but in reality maybe looking for price to do actually all of this in here. Again, bigger picture on the euro dollar. Eventually, as I mentioned, I would like to see it going more to the downside, in particular maybe below, closer to these lows in here, to be honest, in here. So that's kind of more of a bigger picture, but more time frame, this was actually, as I mentioned, kind of a really nice, interesting demand zone that price can just use it as a retracement before continuing to move to the downside. That's true, because we did manage to break this structure, so that could be an option. Bigger picture also, this level in here is still fresh, because price only reacted from these highs, never really went all the way to close this gap. So again, if by any chance this wants to go all the way higher, that can be an interesting move. Above this high, as I mentioned, like I had this KM zone above this high, I'm looking for price to get towards there, and if not there, then price is free to go all the way, starts to look for this zone in here, and eventually again can aim to go even higher in there. So this is what we have. Euro, it closed the gap So we are looking for longs on the euro this week, and euro worked out like that. Okay, and again, now question mark. Which a question mark of what's going to happen in here. Is price just going to hold it and go higher and eventually break above this level, or is going to hold that level and starts to actually create new lows in here and start aiming more to the downside and resume this kind of bearish move that we have on the euro. Yeah, so again, maybe paying attention to that euro index can be interesting. Yeah, we'll see. We will see in here what may happen. But yeah, space filled. Pound dollar. Yeah, pound dollar just continues after respecting that level. Respect this level again, kept respecting every single low at this point, and there's a bit more room to the upside, at least towards this level, and eventually there's even much more room to the upside if you consider that this high hasn't really reacted from anything relevant on the left, and maybe price does want to go a bit more towards that level. Okay, so we'll see, but we do have maybe this structure here that price can still hold it a little bit, and based on all this compression, eventually could even just go all the way down in here. So again, just paying attention to one of these lows, as long as kind of keep holding, maybe can push higher. If one of these lows eventually breaks, then you can have quite of a good fall in here on the pound at this point. But again, we are still within this range. This is where we've been trading this year so far, and yeah, that's kind of the opportunities that we have. Euro pound is again kind of much better. It was a really good reaction from that level. So we finally managed to break above these highs, which may lead a little bit more of a potential move to the upside, even though price just respected straight away the other level. And I'm looking for the euro pound to maybe get closer to this level, or eventually even fake out this double low in here, getting into here before maybe making the turn to the upside in here. But yeah, did manage to start breaking that level. Yeah, nice interesting cam zone in here as well. But the main point was that reaction here. It was really good. Just above this double top in here, it was literally a fresh level that where price reacted from. Unfortunately, this one was with the news. It was quite hard to look for the entry because this level was still crashing here at the high. So it made it almost impossible to enter unless you had a 7-minute in there. Yeah, so again, back at this range in here, bigger picture. Yeah, I'll still maybe would like to see this low actually being taken and price getting a bit more closer to here. But on the other side, it did start managing to break some highs in here, which is interesting. All right. So Rav, are you there? What assets did you trade? What kind of opportunities did you look for this last week? Aussie dollar. This is another one which maybe can continue to go slightly higher. We looked for that move to the upside as well. Okay, again, bigger picture, we actually may have taken an engulf, kind of broken this point here, with potential of price moving a bit more to the downside in the future. But since then, we actually have a little bit of a correction, which was maybe due, and we are looking for price to see how it's going to react around this supply level. This high got really close to it, start moving lower in here, and now we are stuck within this range in here. Okay, so we managed to initially break below it, and it broke to the upside, but at this point both extremes have been respected in here. Okay, just to see how powerful these levels are. And yeah, eventually we could go a bit more higher, still fake out this high, and before maybe moving lower, or maybe just do that, respect this level not to the upside, and eventually take all these highs in here and start going a bit more to the upside in here on the Aussie dollar. Okay, so those are a few things to look for in here. if you start breaking below this level, not really sure if there's anything relevant that can still hold price, and maybe can go a bit more backwards, kind of back to this range in here. EURUSD, yep, not interest. It still remains within this range, so yeah, not really interesting to even pay attention to. Again, the extremes are still something that I look for. Pound Aussie, on the other hand, it filled the range in here, so that's something that that we looked for. Second. All right, so yeah, personally, something that I mentioned, again, good reaction from here. I would like to see maybe this level being broken to start opening doors to the downside, and then we could have that correction maybe towards somewhere in here before aiming to go a bit more to the downside. Again, this high, even though it's a good reaction from here, of course, may not be the final destination, even though it's actually the reaction from this level, which is the last push upwards. It makes it a bit more important, to be honest, but eventually could go higher and even getting closer literally to the extreme in here. Okay, but yes, being in alignment with this level makes it a bit more important than if this level was somewhere in here, then yeah, that would expecting eventually a further move to the upside. But yeah, at this point, there you go. This is kind of what we have. A lot of compression in this week, but as I mentioned, I would love to see this all being taken, and if that's happening, then somewhere from there can be a really interesting opportunity for sales. Otherwise, if this level keeps holding and the price now starts gaining momentum, maybe the momentum is going to continue, and eventually maybe price can use this level as a continuation to the downside in here. That's to the upside, sorry. Yeah, so that's what we have, and if you break below that level, yeah, somewhere in there can be an interesting one on pound Aussie. Yeah, so that's one of them, and then we go into the Aussie yen, which starts introducing into the yen pairs. And this is finally what we mentioned, right? So we've been looking for this one for months. Okay, so this is exactly what we have been waiting for. It looked like it was about to happen, which it was the break of this structure, right? So all the compression that we have seen for the last few weeks, it finally kind of worked. Even all this push in here, you can see even how many days have been bullish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and before that we have one negative, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there you go, almost what, the last 13, 14 trading days have been basically bullish with a mid-range candle in there, creating a lot of compression. That's basically, yeah, that's basically asking or screaming to eventually have a turn and can provide a great opportunity. And that's why the yen pairs are on our radar for this week, and even last week it was as well. We continue the zone 3 type of a move. Okay, there were 2 levels in here that we're looking for on the Aussie yen. Okay, one of them was where actually price is reacting now, because we had this demand zone on the daily, which price kind of pushed higher, and on the way down, price never really respected it. Price should have done something like this. It didn't happen. Price actually just broke through it, and it continued to move lower. So this level, at least on this daily time frame, it's one of the levels that we paid attention to. And also, as you can see, there is literally a fresh supply in alignment with that same level in here. Okay, because these highs in here never really reacted from it. So that will be one of them, and then maybe the next level, it's a bit more into here as well. Okay, so that's a bit of a few levels. Again, you can try to check into lower time frames as well to see where the levels may be. This is a bit tricky because we are back in 2014, so it may be hard to get some historical data in the 1-hour time frame from here. So basically 1 hour is the minimum I can go. Basically kind of a little bit of what we have. Yeah, can maybe fake out this level, can maybe react from here, to be honest. Yeah, so again, this is going to be an interesting one. Keep following Aussie yen. Again, we are in this zone 3 type of a move, which means that anytime it goes higher, there's a tendency to go down and retest the previous lows. Be careful with the shorts, be careful with expecting higher time frame reversals. This was a good opportunity yesterday because we did manage to break below this low, so pay attention to those small trades, then reacted from this level. This is already a fake out of this one, so it makes it a bit more of a high probability of working. It kind of working as a double top in here because this high already kind of fake outs this one, kind of makes it that kind of a pattern in there. So play, like, look for all those patterns confirmations. That's going to increase your probability of being correct when trying to look for those reversals. Otherwise, you may get killed, right? If you just try to trade every single high as a double top, expecting price to go down, you may get picked out constantly. And that can lead to frustration because what happens in a zone 3 type of a move is exactly that, right? Is maybe people are trying to aim for that double top because we have a little bit of a deep correction, and all of a sudden they are faked out and price just goes back straight away into it. And you can imagine the frustration of these traders, right? They start thinking, I was correct in my direction, price actually goes down, meanwhile I'm faked out. So maybe they get a little bit more of a trade in here, hopefully. Otherwise they just completely missed out, they're just frustrated. Once again, now I'm going to cut it, now I'm going to actually get it correctly, boom, another fake out, another move down, right? And it's kind of what keeps happening in here as price continues to create new highs along the way. So that's what zone 3 type of a move means. There are specific patterns of opportunities that you can trade from here, but it's mostly also based on target expectations, especially if we're trying to look for the reversal until we finally have a zone 4, which is that fake out, the proper fake out that may be initiated after you actually break a low. Okay, and then you have that big momentum upwards and maybe have that turn, and all of a sudden we start getting into a new cycle in here. Okay, so again, this is what we need to pay attention to. There's going to be, again, good opportunities. There's a lot of pressure now at this point, so it's definitely an asset that we can pay attention with, eventually the probability of price making a good move down. Okay, follow yen index to look for those setups. Dollar yen, this is the one that we mentioned, which is a bit more in the range. Like if you just compare dollar yen, sorry, with the remaining of the yen pairs, right? So euro yen has been moving like this, Aussie yen has been moving like this, pound yen has been moving like this, and all of a sudden we look at dollar yen and it's just in the range. Right? It's completely different. You compare between 14, okay, so 14 of February, and 14 of February or 12 of February, whatever is in here. Okay, so again, this is because of the dollar as well, and that's sometimes where even looking for these alternative yen pairs may be even the best option instead of just looking at the dollar yen when we are in this situation with the yen index of about to do something big. Dollar yen, yes, it's still respecting this level. It was still fresh, to be honest, because this size never really reacted from it, so this now reacted from it, but we kept respecting this structure, and of the tendency may still be to continue to look for more to the upside. I'll let it create that range in here before maybe have a proper turn in here. Again, the dollar yen, the trick situation is still the all-time highs, which again, I'm sorry, that double top, which can still be faked out eventually. I don't like this level, this is with extreme 151.565, something like this. This high never reacted from it, so that can actually provide a good opportunity to see some reaction in there. But yeah, there you go. Maybe the yen index and now this compression to the downside is just waiting for the dollar yen also to get to an interesting level before a proper turn, which then finally going to have the yen index also to turn there. Okay, it wouldn't be the first time. Even when you had the other low on the left on the yen index, it took a little bit longer, a lot of compression, because it looked like that we were waiting for the dollar yen actually to catch up and to actually be in the right moment for turn down. So this one actually could then explode to the upside. So again, use that information, keep an eye on also on dollar yen to see how we can eventually look for that reversal in there. All right, so euro yen beautifully. Okay, so it went all the way to the extreme. We talked about that as well. So that zone 3 type of a move in here, and it went all the way, not extreme is still kind of a bit higher, which is a level that I'm still eventually aiming for, but price reacted perfectly from the supply level in there. Again, it was with the news on Thursday with the manufacturing services PMI in the Eurozone. Initially in French was quite good, went higher, than in Germany it was kind of negative, and price just literally moved to downside. It created this mid-range in here, so we mentioned also that maybe euro yen doesn't really need to go all the way and to create new highs before kind of using create some kind of fake out opportunity to short. Yeah, this high entry at this point is enough, and price is actually moving a little bit more to downside. We still have this maybe trend line in here. Yeah, maybe that, not sure if it was broken or not. Yeah, something like that. So let's see how this one is going to react. We actually managed to start breaking these lows, so that's a bit more of a bearish move. Again, this is something that we want to pay attention to. So eventually kind of this euro yen can move a bit more to the downside from here. Okay, again, depending also on what euro index may do, if it wants to go higher or if it's happy and with that fake out and it's going to move forward from where it is in here. Yeah, so yeah, again, keeping an eye on these yen pairs, even from here can be an interesting one again. Yeah, can be interesting. All right, pound yen is another one, right? So we continues to move in here. Kind of pound has been a bit more stronger also than the euro, and as a consequence we continue to see this pound yen moving a bit more to the upside as well. What we have in here is what we have in here is this level. Okay, so we start having that low being broken in here, which is an interesting one, and now we created a bit more of this range. We also had a little bit of this structure, price respected it, and now kind of created that fake out. So we'll see. On the other side we have pound yen, getting closer and closer to this structure. Okay, maybe reacting at this point from the lower edge of this level. You can still go a bit more to the upside in there, and then eventually bigger picture, as I mentioned, I'm actually kind of bullish still in here in this higher time frame, expecting eventually pound yen to actually fake out every single thing in here and go higher. But for now, in the lower time frame, I mean hours time frame, not monthly, we can actually have a little bit of a correction to the downside. And yeah, so again, it's another one to keep an eye on. We can definitely try to see where price is reacting around this level. We can even go a little bit more towards there. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on. Again, don't really go lower than the 4-hour time frame in here. So this is already being faked out. That one is already being faked out as well. So let's see how price may react around this level. Yeah. Now I'm to this one. Like, it would be nice to see an over time frame all this PA in here. yeah, so it's another one, just keeping an eye on it. This was kind of a nice correction from here, which kind of already took the orders from there, make it a bit more compressed or weak. If prices want to go higher, maybe it can fake out the highs one more time, unless there's something now in here, which makes it a little bit in alignment with this level. Yeah, that's maybe where maybe the next opportunity is. Yeah, but there you go. Something that is important, at least for me, is kind of to start noticing those break of a low at in here, to start showing a bit more weakness, and eventually that can be used as well for the turn. Okay, so again, pound yen, another one to pay attention to. The CAD pairs. Yeah, we had that great reaction from this supply level, also a little bit in alignment with these left shoulders. So that happened, and price went all the way. It created kind of a new low based on this low, but never really managed to break below that level. So this level in here kept being respected, which again makes it a bit tricky. The break of this level, in my opinion, kind of would open the door to go slightly lower. Never really happened, and yeah, this kind of already kind of a good reaction from here, and we'll see if we're going to get to the extreme or not in here. Again, that hasn't really changed anything comparing with where we were last week. We are still kind of within this level, and without really managing to break that level in there, and yeah, maybe looking eventually prices want to maybe react from here. If we break above this level, then I think we can go slightly higher. Even if we correct first, I think eventually we are aiming to go a bit more to the upside. If this level keeps being held, then yeah, something in here can be also interesting on the dollar CAD. So that's something in there. Euro CAD, yeah, corrected, starting to move higher. So something that we mentioned as well, the correction a little bit. Again, a lot of lows being touched in here. We finally have a little bit of momentum. Not the best PI, I'm not really a big fan of it, even though kind of it worked nicely. Yeah, not really the biggest fan of how price takes so long to move away from one bottom to the and to evolve from it. Yeah, not really the type of trades that I even like to be involved with. Yeah, so we'll see on the Euro CAD what may happen now that it's kind of approaching this next level of structure in there. Pound CAD is another one that you've been looking for. So pound CAD kind of corrected that level, start to break some highs, kind of respected that level. They're looking to see how it's going to go all the way until here, or then eventually still continue to go higher from there. Okay, so it started to turn in here. Yeah, created kind of a nice maybe KM zone in here after breaking these highs. And yeah, we'll see how price may react from this level and then the extreme in here. Dollar franc Swiss, another one. We actually maybe managed to go slightly breaking this low in here. It filled the range. Basically, we're looking for price to get closer to this level. It filled the range and may have even broken a bit more to the downside. This is kind of a nice demand, but this was actually kind of the last low. So maybe it broke to the downside. Maybe can have a little bit of a correction, go here, and still the question mark of if price does hold this level in here, or if we're going to actually break above it before maybe making an attempt to go lower. It's a nice correction. Maybe price doesn't even need to make another correction down. Maybe just break it and start going higher from here. Maybe aiming eventually to get closer to this range in there, or who knows, if not there. Yeah, I still like this level in here whenever price goes back there, and even if prices want to go a little bit more to downside, there's maybe still this fresh level in here as well. Something to bear in mind on dollar franc Swiss. Okay, yeah, something again, we've been looking for that sell opportunity. So since that happened, then again prices naturally start moving lower. Yeah, I was looking for price even to go slightly higher in here. Price respected this double top, which can work as a nice target eventually, taking the liquidity from above this double top. So that's something to look for. Again, that range in here. Yeah, so that's basically kind of where we are now. in there. And gold was another one, was a good one as well. Kind of provided that short opportunity initially. We created all this structure, we fake out this high, broke into this compression zone. Okay, so it's kind of this is actually kind of an engulf upwards, and then yes, and there you go, right? So get the same structure. Look at what gold did, what I mentioned before. First started to actually break the lows before we have that fake out, right? Again, it's another example of what we want to see. First, maybe the lows being broken into one direction, and have fake out, and then you have kind of the continuation. But the break of this level in here is actually kind of a higher time frame engulf upwards, and on the other side, this is basically the range that we have in here, right? So breaking this level just takes us a bit more into the extreme of the range, and the break of this level actually then takes us a bit more into all the way here, or even maybe there. Okay, so again, something just to bear in mind in here on gold. And then the way price kind of keeps navigating between those ranges in there. So we'll see on gold if this is kind of just something to hold and push price a bit more to the upside, getting maybe closer to that level in there, after respecting perfectly this lower extremity of this range. And then oil, yeah, oil continues. It's aimed almost to break above this high of the 79.20, which never really managed to do so. So there you go. Again, a lot of liquidity in here, correction, and we'll see if this is now kind of an attempt to go lower one more time, right? Again, the situation in the Middle East kind of continues a bit the same. China starting to, again, implementing so many stimulus. We're starting to see a little bit of a correction or improvement in the economy. If that happens, maybe we can have a little bit of an increase of prices in commodities. But oil at this point kind of still remains the same. Again, a lot of structure getting here, nice video turn, but without the break of a high, right? Again, breaking the high, but maybe open the door a bit more to the upside. Which never really happened. So we'll see. We'll see at this point if it's from here or eventually a bit more even further down in there. So that's something to keep an eye on as well on oil. I've been kind of ignoring a bit of these levels in here. I'm just looking more for price to break above this level and then maybe look a bit for a correction, maybe reacting from this 80 or something like that. But if price accumulates so many times in here and then all of a sudden turns, this can even create with an explosion. Not really expecting that, maybe some kind of correction here, or just a reaction from here, and there you go, and it continues. We'll see how oil may react from here. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Any questions, guys? Mainstream. Crypto. The crypto total market continues like this, creating this range in here with maybe a bit more room to the upside towards 2 trillion. Spend a lot of time at around 1 trillion. Now it's getting to 2 trillion. Bitcoin also within this range. Again, maybe a bit more room to the upside. I think that's totally reasonable. Again, the pattern itself kind of worked a little bit in here, but since then price kind of stalled within this structure. Kind of managed to slightly break below that level. I think we could naturally just move a bit more. Maybe react from this level and maybe resume. Again, this is a strong compression, which eventually can just reach a bit for price to explode to the upside again. So let's see how maybe price may react from this level. Ethereum is a bit more bullish comparing with BTC. Personally, I think price still wants to go a bit more higher. This is kind of a little bit of the structure that's still created in here, just above these highs. We can see that price create a little bit of a manipulation here. So maybe something in there, even though it's kind of a weak level, and price then maybe can resume and go a bit more to to the upside, even maybe all the way until there as well. Okay, so again, it kind of resumes in there. If price just want to go lower, maybe retesting this level can be interesting as well, but maybe the tendency can still go a bit more to the upside in here. Okay, the one that I've been a bit more bearish, which actually kind of missed my entry, was Savannah. Okay, I did miss my entry in there, and I was looking for price to pick out this high into this level. Never really happened, unfortunately for me. Price kept respecting that high in here, so this was already kind of a reaction from this level after it took these highs, and I was looking for price to move lower. Okay, I had this initial move down, break kind of this low as well, and I was looking then for the correction. This approach was quite nice. Again, what we had in here, start having a lot of a range at around this level in here, and with this low even kind of managing to break below it first, and then it kind of had this final push upwards, which again I'm looking for price to go just a bit more to the upside, and then you can see how price reacts from the base of this. Meanwhile, it broke it. We're looking now for price to go below this low, which again break down, retrace, and they're looking for price to at least towards this level in here. Okay, which is basically where Savannah is about to react from, with a chance still to eventually continue to go even lower. Okay, maybe this doesn't stop just in here, and maybe price actually wants to go all the way towards this level in here. Okay, so towards below this low, so maybe something that price may wants to go to in there. As you can see, these left shoulders in here, it was already touched in there to the pip, so it makes it a weaker level in here. But yeah, maybe somewhere within this zone can be maybe a target for Savannah. We'll see. It's kind of compressing as well quite a lot. Eventually could have a correction also to the upside in here. But in general, while Bitcoin, Ethereum and so on may continue to create new highs, most recent highs, Savannah, I think it could definitely continue to trade maybe a bit more within this range in here, and that was a thought process why I was looking for that short in there. Yeah, so that's kind of what my thought process was. Again, in terms of, as you can see, Ethereum, Ethereum has been a bit more stronger than BTC, maybe until it reaches this supply level, and then we may have maybe Bitcoin kind of remaining being the stronger between both of them, which maybe may take again more move to the upside. Yeah, we'll see in here, but it has been a bit more of a ranging market, a bit tricky this last week for anyone that is trading BTC, because it's just in this range. Again, Savannah actually provided a better move to the downside, while BTC just ranging, and Ethereum kind of ranging but slowly breaking new highs, but kind of coming back down again, kind of more of a compression move in here. And yeah, that's basically it in terms of what we have for next week. Paying attention to some indices, some stocks can also be interesting. Particular Nvidia, since is such a big catalyst in here. Yeah, that's mistaken. Yeah, this move down in here on Tesla. Yeah, Tesla is not as strong. Netflix is getting closer. Oh, it already took it. Okay, nice, already took the highs. Okay. Yeah, because price actually reacted from this level, so that left shoulder was already taken. Then price eventually broke to the upside. Yeah, respected still the supply in there. So there you go. There you go. It created that small manipulation in there, which eventually can open the door into here. Yeah, meanwhile just keeps compressing, keeps going higher. Yeah. Apple, yeah, Apple, we noticed this engulf down, so we've been bearish kind of since then, and looking for Apple to maybe get closer to this range in here. Whatever is this, like 170s, maybe. So it managed to break below these lows. It went all the way back into here. It respected this supply at the highest. This is again not exactly double top because this one already fake out that one. So that's kind of a nice move. Then it broke below these lows one more time, retraced, and we are kind of challenging these lows again, which again looking to see price eventually even taking those lows in there. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. All right, so yeah, that's it, guys. Again, the yen pairs definitely something that I'll be looking for next week. That's going to be providing some good opportunities. What we want to see these highs being broken, okay, and maybe destruction here, properly the trend line, and then a new set of PI is going to occur to see if you do have that confirmation of reversal, or maybe just one last fake out before the move. Okay, and we need to keep an eye on this yen index with all the other yen pairs in there. In particular, also maybe dollar yen can be an interesting one, because maybe dollar yen needs to be in the right place as well to look for to add shorts in there before anything else. So that's definitely something to pay attention. The indices as well, like the continuation of maybe highs, but also paying attention to some retracements as well. Gold might go a little bit more to the upside, and then eventually it can also be start providing some short opportunities closer to these highs in here. Yeah, and then the dollar, right? The dollar has been actually a bit more of a confusion in here. Maybe more room to downside, but still needs confirmation. Sorry, still needs confirmation to see what's next. So yeah, so we'll see. Again, thank you very much, guys. Have a great week, and enjoy your weekend as well. I'll see you next week. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye. Obrigado.